Okay. Let's see if this one's working. Let's see. Let's see. Yay. Okay, it's working. Okay. So good. You guys can hear me, right? I could hear myself when I just pressed play there. Okay, good. Excellent. Okay, so let me just do a really quick introduction. For those of you who are watching this video, welcome to my channel. It was a little bit awkward in the beginning because my first stream of this, my first attempt at this stream, there was no audio. So we had to close out of that and start a new stream, but we are here and the sound is working. I'm gonna blame it on my headphones that I had plugged in the beginning. So, okay, no headphones now, no big deal. You guys can hear me and that's all that matters. Okay, so welcome to my channel for a live quarterly business review. I am really excited about doing this video because, as you guys know, planning is something that's important to me, and Q1 of the new year, Q1 of 2016 has just closed. So this is the time of year where I would do a quarterly business review, which is basically where I will do an overview and take a deep dive into what's been going on in my business, if things are going well, if things are on plan, if I'm hitting goals and things like that. And I thought that, instead of just doing this alone by myself, that I should kind of present to you my process for doing one of these types of reviews, one of these, like a business planning event, essentially, is what this is. So I hope you guys are excited as I am to kind of learn this process and kind of see, basically what I think is essential for business planning, or at least what I do, right? So I am by no means representative of like a majority of businesses or business owners, but I do know that, I think a lot of people feel like they want to have a sense of what they should be doing. And hopefully this, this live event, which will be replayed for those of you who are probably watching the replay, or if you're watching now and you get kicked out or you have to leave, no problem. There is going to be a review. It is going to be about an hour sort of lecture style, as I normally do when I kind of present things like this. So if you saw my 2016 business planning video, you are already kind of familiar with the way this is going to be run. So before we begin, I do want to point out that because because this was a second attempt of this stream, I wasn't able to put in the comments in the live chat. So welcome to everybody. I would love it if you guys, as you join and take your seat, if you guys would leave a comment with your name, your location, what your business is all about, like what you're currently working on, and an internet handle, some sort of social media handle, because it's my goal for you guys to not only kind of be here and interact with me, but also to interact with each other and to learn from each other. This is a really great community, and I think that, I'm not just a resource for you. You guys are all a resource for each other. So as I do this presentation today, I'm not going to be able to see the comments. So I want you guys to kind of interact with each other, answer each other's questions if you think you have an answer. And of course, if you guys did come prepared with questions for me at the end, I absolutely am going to do a live Q&A, and I'll stay on as long as you guys need me to until all of your questions are answered. And just keep in mind that I'm not going to be able to answer questions as we go through. So yes, because I already kind of had a little bit of a delay with our issue in the first video, I'm going to go ahead and switch over now to my full screen so that you guys can see my screen. And I'm just going to ask, as soon as you guys see my screen, if someone can leave me a comment that says that they see it. And then I know I'm confident that I can present to everyone. Okay, so you guys hopefully right now are seeing my screen. Are you guys seeing my screen? I just like to wait before I get started, just to make sure you guys are seeing the screen. Because excellent. Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much. Okay, so we're good. I'm going to jump into my full screen keynote presentation, and we're going to get started. Okay, so welcome everyone today for my quarterly business review. This is, as I said, it's a live event for those of you who are here, or you may be catching it on a replay. No big deal. Either or is great. And I think you guys are going to have a really great time learning about my business process and how I kind of review and do my planning ongoing throughout the year. Because planning is a big part of success in any endeavor. And being a business owner, someone who's a solopreneur, it's really important that I stay on top of my planning and review my business to make sure that I'm always putting my best foot forward. Okay, so how to get the most from this training, okay? Because I do a lot of sort of these live video trainings and webinars and things like that, and I attend a lot of them myself. So I kind of have some tips that I've picked up along the way. The first is to turn your phone onto silent if you're someone who would get distracted by their phone if it makes noises, or flip it over so you don't see the screen if you get pop-up notifications, just to kind of give you some peace of mind and uninterrupted time as you're sitting and doing this training with me. If you are in an area where you can shut a door and kind of get more privacy, go ahead and get up and shut your door. And if you're somewhere that's a little bit more public, you may want to put on headphones, just so that you have a little bit more of an immersion into the content. Next, absolutely, I want to make sure you guys are taking notes. Something to be aware of is that I do not have a study guide for this event. You may have noticed that already, but it was mostly because when I was going through this, it was really hard for me to figure out how I would design a study guide for this. So this is going to be something where you guys are going to need to take notes and refer back to the video, as you're going along. And I promise that it'll be worth it for you if you spend a little bit of undivided time with me. I really think you're going to learn a lot and get a lot from this video today, because I do think that business planning and doing a business review is very important. So get your notebook and your pen ready, because you're going to be taking lots of notes. Okay, so we're going to start off. You're in the right place if you're an existing small business owner who wants to set themselves up for success this year. That's really what this sort of video, this live event is geared towards, as someone who is a small business owner, who does want to make sure that they're setting themselves up for success and make sure they're doing more of the right things. You're also in the right place if you're an aspiring business owner who wants to start a business and you want to see what it takes to keep organized, right? A lot of questions that I do get sometimes from aspiring business owners is, the things that you have to do as a business owner, this concept of there's things that you need to do as a business owner in order to be successful and to run a business. I really don't think there's a list of things you have to do, but I think that this video is going to help you guys and show you guys and teach you guys things that you may want to do to run a successful business. You're also in the right place if you're not really sure that you want to start a business, but you'd like to hear how I approach my business planning. Again, with a lot of planning, I think that you can always take tips from, a business planning webinar could help someone who isn't a business owner. I just think you can get a lot of tips and tricks just for organizing your own life, even if you don't run a business. So you're in the right place if any of these apply to you. So my goal for you today, is to learn my process of organizing my business and staying on track with my plans and goals. Hopefully that's one of the reasons you showed up today. I also want you guys to understand some of what it takes to run a responsible business that dots all the I's and crosses all the T's. This is kind of the reason I'm doing this. This concept of having a business that dots the I's, crosses all the T's, because it's very easy to start a business. It's not a hard thing to do to just start a business. But I think it's really important for someone who does want to run a successful business that you also make sure you're running a responsible business, and responsible in terms of making sure you're fulfilling your obligations to like legally and financially and things like that, making sure you're really making sure you're doing what it takes to run a legitimate business, because it's so easy. And you guys have probably seen like maybe businesses online, people are just selling things left and right and just PayPaling invoices. None of that is wrong, absolutely. But I do think that kind of having a little bit more of an organized business brings a little bit of legitimacy. And I think it gives you a little bit more of self-empowerment as a business owner as well, to be saying, I'm running a legitimate business here. I'm organized. I'm on top of my finances. And of course, the most important actually, I think, is I'm on top of my business goals. Like, I think that's even more important is to make sure that you are going after your business goals and setting and achieving those goals. So we're going to be talking about that today. And the final thing I want you guys to learn today, my goal for you today, is to feel in control of your business and to learn to analyze your progress, to know what works and what doesn't, so you can do more of what works. Okay. So kind of like what I was saying before about, this process can kind of empower you, because you're going to, through the process of doing a quarterly business review and analyzing your business results, you're going to be able to see if you're making progress in your business towards whatever goals you've set for yourself. And you're going to be able to learn and see, and it's not something that happens overnight. After doing a few of these sorts of business reviews quarterly, you're going to start to learn more and more about what it is that moves the needle in your business, what are those essential activities that you need to be doing in order to be getting a really good response, right? So you're putting in effort and you're getting a good response in your output. So that is, again, part of what I hope you guys are going to learn today in this training. So for any of you guys who do not already know me, because this is a completely public event, so it's not something that was like reserved seating, which would have meant you guys knew me ahead of time. For those of you who might just be watching this live and don't know who I am, let me just quickly introduce myself. My name is Alexis Giostra. I'm also known as MissTrenchcoat all across the internet. That's my handle. I've been blogging since 2008. I've been on YouTube since 2009. I'm a blogger, online business owner, and a productivity guru. And I left my sales job at a Fortune 50 company after 5 years to start my own online business in May of 2014. And I replaced my income in 6 months. So that's where I'm coming from, who I am. I don't consider myself some sort of like online business expert. I'm just someone who, as far as I'm concerned, if you're watching this and you're looking up to me and you're saying, I would like to replicate what Alexis is doing, I'm just someone who's been a student of online business, of online marketing, who's been running a successful business since 2014. And I just feel like I'm just a little bit ahead of the curve of you guys. So I hope that through events like this, through these sorts of training webinars and videos where I'm kind of sharing my information and my strategy with you guys, that you guys are going to be where I am if you're not already where I am. And, that's always my goal for teaching you guys and sharing these things with you, is that I want you guys to kind of learn what I'm doing so that you guys can easily, replicate my success. Okay, so right now, at this point, I want you to go ahead and write down a question you have right now about online business planning. It could just be a business question in general. I don't mind, because I will be doing an open Q&A at the end of this planning session. So make sure if I don't answer your question through this webinar, like if this presentation doesn't answer your question, I want you to ask me at the end, okay? And I also want you to stick with me until the end of this presentation, because if you would like to learn how you can get a free online business resource guide with my favorite books, tools, and content to up-level your online marketing. If you're someone who's here to do a business planning session and you want to learn about this may also interest you. So if you stick with me to the end, you're going to learn how you can get that free online business resource guide. Okay, so let's jump on in to this quarterly review process. I'm hoping this video is no longer than an hour. I try to keep this as simple and straightforward as possible. So with your quarterly review, the first thing you might be thinking is, why is it important to perform a quarterly business review? Okay, so what's the why? The why is because it helps you to keep on track with goals, right? Whenever what do they say? If you fail to plan, you plan to fail, right? So when you're doing this sort of quarterly business review, it's essentially a business planning. It's a way for you to keep on track with your business goals. It's also an opportunity for you to realign or adjust your business plans. If you feel like maybe what you set out in the beginning of the year, maybe you executed it in Q1 and you're thinking to yourself, you know what, that didn't quite work out. So this is an opportunity for you to go ahead and look at those business plans and either adjust the plans to maybe a new strategy or to realign if you're someone who maybe you got a little bit knocked off course. Maybe you laid out this wonderful business plan in the beginning of the year, but then one thing led to another and you kind of got sidetracked. This is an opportunity to kind of recenter your business towards your business plans. This sort of activity also helps you to remain organized for tax season, right? So this is one of the reasons I do this on a quarterly basis, is because as someone who does pay quarterly estimated taxes, which is something that's, required of businesses in the United States, that's one of the reasons I do this on a quarterly basis, because it makes it really easy for me to do my quarterly taxes if I have a quarterly review that I've done. And then it helps me when I do my taxes at the end of the year, my full year taxes. So this is a really great way to kind of help you keep organized with your finances. And also, I think it's really motivating to see your results after a quarter and analyze your progress. I really think that it really helps, because sometimes I think it's really easy for us to get into this habit of, you're working and you're doing things and there is progress being made, but you're not really paying attention because you're in the moment. You're not really looking behind to see what's going on. You're more in the moment, like getting all the work done and hustling and things like that. So I think that taking this time to look back over the last 3 months and see what the results were and analyze the progress, I think it's really motivating, because I think that if you have been working towards goals for the last quarter, you may feel like, oh, I've been doing all this work and it's not paying off. But actually, when you sit down and do the review, you might actually see, you know what? You might start to recognize, I actually have been making progress. I didn't even realize it, because a lot of times progress happens and we're not even paying attention. So I think that's another great reason why you want to make sure that you're doing a quarterly review process, okay? So what do you need to perform a quarterly business review? What are the things you need, okay? Might be asking yourself that. You're going to need things like your financial statements and financial information. So any income statements that you have of money that came into your business, your bank and your card statements. You may be someone like me who has like dedicated bank information for their business. Like I have my own business like checking account and savings account, and I've got like a business credit card. And, if you have that broken out, then you can just kind of grab all that information. Makes it really easy for you when you're doing a review like this. And if not, that's fine. Not everybody has had the time or, the necessity to start their own dedicated business accounts, but you may need your personal financial accounts if you pay for business expenses and things like that out of pocket in your personal account. So you're going to want those statements. You're also going to want receipts for any out-of-pocket expenses you may have made. It's always good business practice to keep your receipts, but especially if you had any that you made, like you bought something with cash or you paid something with cash, it's not really tracked on your bank card statements if you paid cash. So if you have any receipts for any out-of-pocket expenses or anything you paid cash for, also great to have at this point. The next thing you're going to need is your content and editorial calendar. So, the content that you've put out for your business. So that could be content for your website or your blog, your social media platforms, and your email client, okay? So there's, if you want to have those websites up, if you want to have your blog up, or if you have your editorial calendar in front of you, I have an editorial calendar that's in my planner, so I know what content went out. If you have that available to you, definitely you're going to want to have that out when you're performing your business review. And you're also going to want to be able to, you want to be able to see your social media platforms as well. So again, you're going to need your computer or an iPhone or something like that, as well as whatever your email client is. I use MailChimp if you do email marketing. And finally, you're going to need your marketing calendar and your business plans, however you have those sort of written out. As well as your business goals for the year. So I do have a section in my planner, that's my project planning section, that has my full year marketing calendar broken out with my business plans on it. And I also have, just my business goals for the year that are just been written out also in my planner. So those are the things you're going to need. Now, that's by no means all inclusive, but this is the sort of stuff that I use when I'm doing these sorts of business reviews. So if there's anything else you can think of that you think would help you to get a sense of what your business has been doing and what it's been up to, add that to the list. Okay, so the first thing that we do in a business review is we review our statistics. I do this first because it's like the easiest thing to do. Looking at the income and money is a little bit harder, so I do that a little bit later. Okay, so the first section is statistics. So what were your key statistics for the quarter, okay? Statistics are really important when you're thinking about online marketing and having a business, because they're one way that you can track your progress for your business and your business growth and the influence of your business. So the first thing you're going to do when you perform this business review is you're going to go through your platforms and you're going to identify your current stats, okay? So I think that getting in the habit of doing this monthly or even weekly is pretty ideal. If you're someone who maybe jots down their key stats on a weekly or monthly basis, that's awesome. I think you should at least do this a minimum of one time per quarter though. So if you haven't been tracking it all year, don't worry about it. Right now, you can go in and track where your stats are at now that quarter one has closed, okay? And then you can do it once a quarter, or you can get into the habit of doing it a little bit more frequently, okay? So what are the stats that you're gonna wanna be looking into? The first is going to be your website, which I put here, website/Google Analytics. If you're someone who has a website or a blog, I highly, highly suggest using Google Analytics to track the key stats for your site. And the reason is because Google Analytics is essentially the industry standard for tracking analytics. So if you're ever working with sponsors, or if you're working with people that might want to see your analytics, if you're a blogger that maybe is going to sell ad space or something like that, or get sponsored posts, Google Analytics is really essential. And if you're just a business owner, you're not like thinking like, oh, I need to work with brands and I need to share my stats with people. Google Analytics just has really powerful software that's really good for just business owners. Even if you're not looking to share that information with anyone, it's really accurate information. So this is why I write website Google Analytics, because you definitely want to use Google Analytics. And there's a few things in Google Analytics that I think it's really key to have the information about for your statistics. First are your page views. So the amount of page views you've had in the quarter, so in the period of time, just like a total number. And in Google Analytics, you're able to select a time frame. So select the first quarter of the year, see what those total page views were at. The second piece of information I think it's really great to know for your statistics on your website are sessions. So website sessions, in Google Analytics are the amount of times that someone came to your site and was just sitting there reading through your content. So it's how many times people, the word session is very, almost speaks for itself, but the amount of time people came to visit, and it's kind of independent of the page views that they went through. They may have gone through one page, they may have gone through dozens of pages, it doesn't matter. It's how many times someone came and interacted with your website, okay? So the sessions are a really great number, especially if you're a blogger. A lot of times businesses or sponsors would like to know that information, because it's like how often your website is really being interacted with, because sometimes page views are misleading and other information can sometimes be misleading, but sessions are a really good indicator of what your website's doing, okay? So sessions are really great statistic to have. The next one is users. Google Analytics also tracks what they consider to be your unique users, the number of unique users. And that's another great way to just kind of know how many people are visiting your site. Now, it's not a perfect system, unfortunately, because it's technology, but Google Analytics does a really good job of kind of identifying different users. So if you track your users, I think that's a great way to see how big your base has been growing on your website, how many different people. Because like I said, page views sometimes can be really misleading. Because one person could come in and read 100 pages, or 100 people could come in and just really quickly read one page and click out. So kind of understanding the amount of users your website is getting, I think, is a really good statistic to have. And then finally, the bounce rate. So bounce rate is something you'll see in Google Analytics as well. And it essentially means it's a percentage of people who came to your site and left, who just clicked out without interacting with your page. So the bounce rate, it's a number that you want to see the percentage lower. A lower number means that people are coming to your site and they're engaging with it, and not just coming and clicking in and then walking away because they didn't find what they were looking for. Bounce rate is a really good indicator that your content is really what people are searching for when people are finding you through search and through SEO, which is search engine optimization. So bounce rate is really great. And to give you an idea, I mean, like, I think they say a bounce rate of like 50 or below, or maybe like 65 or below, is ideal. Specifically, I tend to have a bounce rate that's like 14%, which means that people are searching online for my information, for information that leads them to my site. They're finding the information on my site and they're staying, and they're either going to another page or they're interacting or clicking through something on my website is keeping them on my website, which is really good. So if you have your bounce rate and it's under 65%, that's pretty good. Like, that's, I think, what they say is where you want to be. If you are at a higher bounce rate, just something to keep in mind that, you may want to look at the type of content you're putting up and make sure that your website is really set up optimally so that people are inclined to engage and not inclined to just click off, okay? So that's everything for a website that you want to make sure you're tracking and thinking about. Next are your social platforms. You want to go through all the platforms that you use and make sure you keep track of your total followers and your, or total subscribers, whatever the platform, uses as their metric. And then, of course, your email list. You want to check to see what your total list growth has been, like what your total subscriber count is at for your email list. Okay. Good statistics to have. Okay, so those are your statistics. The next part of the business review is your income and your expenses, okay? So here you're going to try to understand what are your total income and expenses for the quarter, which is really key for, paying taxes, understanding how financially solvent your business is, things like that. So the first section is income. Income, I think, is always kind of like the easiest thing to do. So you're just going to want to go to each of your income streams. If you're someone like me, I've got like multiple income streams, and I've talked about these before. Obviously I have my shop. I'm part of a few affiliate programs. I do some outside client work, YouTube, I do YouTube, so I get paid from YouTube for advertising revenue. So you're going to go to all of your income streams and you're going to get the total of what you made in the quarter. You also want to make sure that you're double checking that you've got no open invoices or payments that you are waiting on. So sometimes being a solopreneur, someone who's like an independent business owner or working for yourself, we get so busy, I think sometimes we forget, like, we're our own accounts, receivable as well. So you want to make sure that no one owes you money. And if someone does owe you money, you just want to make sure you follow up on that and make sure you have an understanding of what money is supposed to be coming into you, depending on the type of business. If you're someone who does a service-based business, you might be invoicing people. For my shop, obviously, nothing is, when people pay as they go, so it's not like anyone owes me money for my shop. But if you're someone that does have clients or does services, you may have open invoices. You just want to kind of check on those to make sure you're getting paid, with whatever your terms are for your invoices, so that you know what money is supposed to be coming in, and you want to make sure that it actually does come in. Okay, so that gives you your total income information. Then you're going to do your expenses, which is sometimes a little bit harder. First thing you want to think about is, do you have any pending payments for the quarter? So did you fail to pay something that maybe was an invoice that you received? Is there something that you're waiting to pay for? Or even money that you maybe you sent money off, but maybe things haven't cleared yet, like a check hasn't cleared. Just see if you have any pending payments for the quarter that have not gone through yet. Because it's, again, you want to make sure that you have a clear understanding of all the money that's going to go out for your business. Okay, so the next thing you want to do once you have that list of expenses, right? So you know what your expenses were, is you need to distribute your expenses or classify them by type. And this is something that definitely helps for like tax time. If you're like in, a solopreneur like me, this definitely helps me. So you're going to get all of your expenses that you've pulled off of those income statements and those expense statements. Like we said, those you want to look at your bank card, you want to look at all the places where you've taken money and spent it for your business, and you want to categorize, classify each of those expenses. So the major expenses that I tend to have, and this is by no means all of the expenses you could possibly have as a business owner, and all of this information obviously varies by the type of business that you're running, the location that you're in, so like maybe what state you're in or what country you're in. I'm obviously in the US and I live in Pennsylvania. So, when I do my taxes, understanding what classification my expenses are is just something that helps me at tax time. So just like a tip, you know what I mean? Like, I'm obviously not giving you guys financial advice. This is just my process, what I end up doing. So I go through my expenses and I distribute them by their type. So I usually have things like office supplies, T&E, which stands for travel and entertainment, materials, so any materials that I need in order to create my products, advertising fees, general fees, like I use PayPal for my shop, so my PayPal fees, I need to know what those were, and then any contract labor or employees. So I don't have any employees in my business that are like direct business employees, but I do contract out work sometimes. So having my expenses broken out like that is really helpful for me. Like I said, by no means is this list comprehensive. You definitely want to talk to your whoever does your taxes, or if you do your own. I tend to use I use TurboTax and I do them myself, my home and business myself, and you'll be able to see what the different classifications are, so that you know if you're doing your expenses right, you're classifying everything right. But this will vary by your business, but just something to keep in mind, that you want to distribute your expenses on a quarterly basis. So it just takes work away when it's coming to the end of the year to do your full year taxes. It's just a pain in the butt to have to go back for a full year. So if you do this on a quarterly basis, it makes it much easier. Okay. So once you have these totals, you can apply the information to any estimated tax worksheets and pay your estimated quarterly taxes. Again, depending on your location. I pay estimated quarterly taxes because that's what I do for my business. You're going to want to talk to a financial professional or a tax person to make sure, to see what you should be doing for your business. But once you have that income and expenses, you're able to then use that information to pay your taxes. So this is one of the reasons I need to do a quarterly business review, because I pay these taxes. I need to know what the totals are for myself so that I'm paying, a good estimation of what I owe. And just for anyone who is in the US, I just wanted to give you guys the US quarterly tax dates for this year. So Q1's tax payments are due April 15th. Q2 is June 15th. Q3 is September 15th. And then your Q4 estimated quarterly tax payment is due by January 15th of the next year. So that's the distribution for quarterly taxes. It's not always a real quarter. So April is at the end of Q1, but then June is still in the middle of Q2. And then September still Q3 hasn't ended. And then Q4 you get until the new year to file those estimated taxes. So that's not your full year taxes. That's just estimated quarterly taxes. And again, if this is not something that you guys do and you haven't gotten to this yet, just kind of file this information away for future use. Okay. Okay. So that's the income and expenses that you're going to go through. That's my process for doing my income and expenses. Next are my business goals. Okay. So you essentially want to figure out, are you on track with your annual business goals? This is a really big question, obviously, for running a successful business. So the first thing that I like to do when it comes to my business goals is I like to review what my yearly business goals were, because sometimes we forget what they were, right? Like we forget what we wrote down. It's really good practice to kind of keep them front and center in your life so that you can look at them and review them frequently. But if you haven't, no big deal. It is the quarterly review time. Go ahead and look at your business goals so that you kind of refresh your memory. Now ask yourself, are you making progress on these goals based on your statistics and your income and expenses that you've been doing? Because a lot of times the activities that we do to reach our goals are going to manifest themselves in our follower counts for online business, and as well as our income and expenses. So are we growing how we want to grow in the online marketplace, and are we making the money that we were hoping to make as well? So are you making progress on those business goals? So what's working in your business from this quarter and what isn't? So this is something that, again, it's a hard thing for me to kind of teach you guys how to think about your business, but sit down and give some thought about what in the last quarter really seemed to be working for you. And I think that a lot of times this is a gut feeling, right? Like maybe we did some sort of marketing activity and something that we just felt like we hated it. We didn't like the way it turned out. For whatever reason, we just didn't feel like it was the best use of our time. Like what wasn't working, and then what really lit us up? What sort of activities did we do for our business that really felt like they were going to move the needle for us? Like we felt like we were getting interaction from our community. We can see that maybe sales came in from a certain activity we did. What were those? Okay. So just to give you guys some insight with like my business, right? For example, something that I started doing this year that seems to be working for me is I started doing these webinars, these sales webinars. And I'm not talking about what I'm doing today, because this is not like a sales webinar today. But if you guys have been someone who's been on my 5 pillars webinar, that was like a webinar training, or my 5 photographic marketing assets that I did in February, those were like sales webinars where I presented a whole like a whole strategy, a whole part of my strategy. And then at the end, I talked about a product that I had that was, that would kind of like would help people who were interested in that topic, right? So those webinars really worked for me this quarter. And it's something that I brought to my business that was new. And it was definitely something that I feel like was moving the needle for me. So what was working in your business? Was there something you started doing that was new? Or is there something that you've always been doing that is your tried and true, you're always doing it? And I'll give you another example. Like when I say something that isn't working, right? Within this quarter, I kind of also realized that the way I've been blogging hasn't been moving the needle for me the way that I would like. My blog posts just from this quarter were just they weren't really getting me the activity that I was looking for. The activity that I was looking for came from my webinars and from YouTube videos, not really from my blog posts. So going forward in Q2, I have to think to myself, okay, how am I going to blog differently? Is it that, was it the fact that I really didn't put, a ton of effort into a lot of my blog posts? I ended up reposting a lot of blog content, older blog content this first quarter to kind of save myself some time. But obviously that didn't work. Like it wasn't working. It didn't move the needle for me. It wasn't like it hurt me, but it didn't really move the needle. So it's something that's an opportunity for me to reevaluate how I'm going to, move forward with the way that I blog. And I actually just this week did a whole content brainstorm, which I'll talk to you guys about in a moment. Revolving around my blog and some really good fresh content that I can add to my blog. And then we'll see in Q2 if that fresh content really helps move the needle. So, when it comes to running a successful business online, there is no like perfect formula. You really need to be constantly evaluating your own activities and checking to make sure you're doing things that are actually working and you're not wasting your time on things that don't. So that's just an example from my own business. Okay. So another thing that you might want to think about when you're looking at your business goals and wondering what's working from a quarterly perspective and what's not, something you might want to be asking yourself as well is, do you need to edit your goals to be more or less aggressive as well? Because sometimes we make really big goals for ourselves, which is great because sometimes that's very motivating to make big goals. But at the end of the day, we are running a business, so we want to make sure that we're being realistic with our goals. And an example too for you guys of a situation where maybe you need to be more aggressive, right, is for me last year. I've talked to you guys about this before. I've told you guys before, so if you've heard this before, I apologize. But in Q1 of 2015, I blew my sales goals for the whole year in the first quarter. And that was because I wasn't being aggressive enough in my sales goals. So when I did my review at the end of Q1, I basically had to say to myself, okay, you blew your yearly goal out of the water at this point. Like, what are you going to set your goal as moving forward? Because I was thinking too small, okay? So you may need to edit your goals based on what your progress is doing. And I'm not saying that you need to edit your goals, but you may be looking at your results and saying, you know what, I need to make these a little bit more aggressive, or you know what, maybe I was too aggressive. Maybe something changed in Q1, and maybe you don't want to be kind of stretching yourself to try to achieve some humongous goals. So just something to think about while you're going through this process. Think about your business goals. Are you making progress? Do they need to be edited? There's nothing wrong with editing, you guys. It's always great to be editing, actually, I think. Okay, so that's your business goals. Now we're going to talk about marketing, okay? So marketing is another part of my business review, something that I will look at in my business review. So are your marketing efforts helping you make progress towards your goals? So you need to understand your goals, and then you need to understand your marketing efforts, because your marketing efforts are what you're going to be doing, the actual activities and tasks you're going to be doing to move the needle so that you get those increases in subscribers, so your statistics are getting better, and you're getting the increase in income so that your income and expense reports are looking, more aggressive and filling out better. So are your marketing efforts helping you make progress towards your goals? That's what you want to ask yourself in your quarterly review process. So when it comes to your marketing, did you launch any new products or services this quarter? For me, I know I launched, in Q1, I launched my Charmed Life Masterclass, okay? So that's something that I would have on my quarterly review under my marketing column. I did launch a new product, okay? So what methods did you use to promote or launch that product? And this could also be for just your products in general, okay? So what other methods did you use to promote and launch? So for my Charm Life Masterclass, I'm just going to use myself as an example because you guys may remember this. I launched it through a YouTube video, okay? And the YouTube video did pretty well, and I got some good sales to that YouTube video, but I really haven't been promoting it other than that. So that's maybe an opportunity that I need to be working on for my marketing going forward in Q2. What worked with your marketing plan, and what wasn't working, or what wasn't as successful? Like I mentioned earlier, my blogging didn't work for me very well in Q1, and most of it was, I think, the strategy that I was using. I was really, like I said, I was just reposting some older content that I didn't think had gotten as much love, and I don't think it ended up moving the needle the way I was hoping to. So moving forward for Q2, I want to be creating some really great new content. So in terms of what worked with your marketing plan and what wasn't successful, did you stick to your marketing plan or did you deviate? That's something that you want to make sure you're understanding, because sometimes we make these plans and then we don't even stick to them. And that's why this business review is a great way for you to realign to your plans, or adjust your plans to realign with what you're doing that might be working right now. So you have to ask yourself, did you even follow your plan? So why did you deviate if you deviated? That's something to really understand. If you did go off course, what was the reason? Because a lot of times understanding the triggers for why we change our plans is key to understanding our own behavior so that we can make better plans in the future. So why did you deviate? Really important to know that. So Next question you want to ask yourself for marketing is, do you need to edit your marketing plan for next quarter based on what you've learned from this quarter? And for me, that answer is yes. I do need to edit my marketing plan in terms of my blog for next quarter. I don't need to change my plans in terms of whatever webinars I had planned or whatever products or services that I'm planning to launch in the next upcoming quarter. None of that needs to change. Just my blog marketing needs to change, because as far as I'm concerned, I think other areas of my business did well. But this is something where looking at your statistics, looking at your income, and then looking at your goals and how you've been making progress, you may need to just edit your marketing plan to realign with your business goals to make sure you're doing the activities that will make a difference in your business. Okay. Next is content. The next thing you want to think about when you're doing your quarterly business review. Okay, so with your content, you want to ask yourself, is your content helping you reach your marketing and business goals? Okay, so were you able to stick to your content plan? Okay, so that's where your editorial calendar comes in. Were you someone who stuck to your editorial calendar, or did you at the last minute maybe make changes or cancel things or create less content than you had originally planned? For me, that answer when it comes to my blog is yes. I deviated. I was not able to stick to my content plan. And the reason why was just because for me, I felt like I was overwhelmed. So were you able to stick to your content plan and your editorial calendar? If you didn't, why not? What was keeping you from making it happen? So when you go through your editorial calendar and you are reviewing your content, you want to figure out which content did best in terms of shares and comments and likes, etc. Okay? So I tend to base the success of my content off of things like shares. Like if I saw that people were sharing it on Facebook, or comments, the amount of comments that someone left, or the amount of likes a post got, things like that. So that's my meter for judging which content did best. So you want to look through you're actually not just look at your editorial calendar, but you want to go through your actual website or your YouTube channel or your Instagram account, and you want to go through all of your platforms that you've been creating content on, and you want to see which ones did best, because you're going to want to do more of what worked and less of what didn't work. Looking ahead to the next quarter, you want to ask yourself, do you have content in your editorial calendar that's similar for the next quarter? So similar to the things that we're doing well, right? Because you want to be doing more of what works. And if you don't think you have enough content on your editorial calendar for the next month or the next quarter that is more of what was actually getting engagement, right? You're going to need to do a content brainstorm and build yourself an editorial calendar for the next month or the next quarter that does have more of those successful pieces of content in it, okay? So I'm going to tell you guys right now, I mentioned doing a content brainstorm for my blog. I did one earlier this week. So this is my general process for a content brainstorm. I thought you guys would want to know, okay? So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take your platform, whatever the platform is. We're going to use my blog as an example for this one because that's what I did my content brainstorm for. And you're going to list out the categories of content that you create. You should have 3 to 5 categories of content for any of your platforms. And what I mean by this is, for me, the categories of content that I create for my blog are like productivity and planning related. There's business related content, social media related content, and technology content, right? So I've got specific categories of content that I always create, okay? And I stick with those categories. So you're going to list your categories of content out, and then you're going to think about the content that worked in the previous quarter and which you didn't. And you want to think to yourself, do you understand why things worked? Because it's not enough to know that something got engagement. You really need to think one step further and understand why it was that it got engagement. And I think that the best way to do this is to kind of compare it to a piece of content that did not get as much engagement, right? So you'll take a good piece of content, something that was very engaged upon, and you'll take a piece of content that was not engaged upon under the same platform. So it could be 2 blog posts if we're talking about a blog here. And you're going to compare and contrast them. Did one of them have better images? Did one of them have a better word count? Did one of them seem more friendly? Was one of them maybe more sterile and maybe people weren't able to really weren't able to feel like they were invested in that piece of content? It's, again, this is a hard thing for me to kind of teach you how to do. But you need to, I think that by looking at a good piece of content that got a lot of engagement and looking at a piece of content that did not get a lot of engagement from the same time period, from the same platform, I think you're going to start to see what the difference was. And you may actually look at all your pieces of content that worked and all the pieces of content that didn't work and actually see that they came from different categories. So that maybe all of the categories, all of the blog posts that were in a certain category did well, but then all of the blog posts in a different category didn't do well. So then what you might need to be asking yourself is, well, what's wrong with that category? Was it I didn't do enough to make that content applicable to people? Or is this a category I probably shouldn't be writing about because I'm not getting engagement? I clearly am not able to present it in a way that gets engagement. So these are things that you want to think about. You want to really understand why content worked and why it didn't. And this is something that you will learn through time. This is not something that you should expect to be able to do on your first try and get it right. This is all trial and error. It is all building your the muscle in your brain that's all about understanding what that good content is so that you can identify it. So then next you're going to think about your frequently asked questions, okay, and what you're good at and what you know your audience wants from you. I think that understanding what you get asked about a lot is a good way to, it's a good meter for the content you should be creating in the future. So if I get a lot of questions about, like, let's say business planning, for example, right? Because we're doing a business planning webinar. If I'm getting a lot of questions about business planning from my audience, that's probably a sign that I should be doing some content about that topic, right? So let the questions that come in to you and the questions you see from your audience, let that kind of guide you so you understand what your audience wants from you. And also think about what you're good at as well, like what really seems to be your strong suit. Because again, going back to the example I gave earlier about you might find that all of the content that did well was under a certain category, and maybe all the content that did not do well was under a different category. You might find that maybe you're just better at one category than the other. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? There's nothing wrong with admitting that you're not good at something. You just need to acknowledge it so that you don't lean on it as a crutch and continue to do what's not working, because at the end of the day, you're running a business and you want to make sure that business is succeeding. So don't waste time with things that aren't working. You want to stick to what actually works. Okay, so the next thing that I do in my content brainstorm is I like to list content ideas for each category in a stream of conscious style. So literally, I sit down and do all this in one sitting, okay? So I've listed out the categories. I know what content worked, and I know what didn't work. I'm looking at my email, right, and seeing what questions are getting in, and I'm scrolling through different platforms where I get questions in YouTube, and I'm looking at my Instagram, and I'm seeing what people are asking me about, and I'm seeing patterns. And to me, what this ends up happening is that my brain just starts generating ideas. So I will write these ideas out, stream of conscious style, which means I don't stop to think about what the content was really about yet. I just kind of write down the ideas that I'm having. I just kind of brain dump them. They go from my brain that's kind of generating these ideas onto the piece of paper, and I don't stop the flow of ideas, okay? So once your brain has stopped creating the ideas, like once the faucet runs dry, right? And you're done, you can go through and you can determine which of these ideas that you just kind of scrambled out on paper are good ideas and which are really not really aligned with your goals, okay? Because when you're doing stream of consciousness, you're going to get some great ideas, you're going to get some good ideas, and you're going to get some, I don't know why I even wrote this down, ideas. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just a exercise to get ideas out of your brain and onto paper. So once you're done and everything's on paper, then you can go through and decide what actually is a piece of content that you would like to create and which ones are not. And then you can just cross those out or whatnot, right? So then you've got those content ideas that you can then apply to your editorial calendar. Okay, so that's like my general process for a content brainstorm. That's like how I do it. Okay, so that is content. And then the last piece of my business review are victories. So this is the last topic of the business review that I cover. So you want to find out what your victories were this quarter. And by victories, I mean your wins, things that you did that were good and positive, and things that you really should make sure you're keeping accounting of, okay? So your victories. I think that it's really important to keep a victories list, a list of things that you've been doing or that you've done. They could be one-time events, they could be habitual events, they could be routine events, things that are wins for you, things that you should be proud of, things that show that you are making progress. So I think it's important to keep a list of those things. I think it helps you to remember that you are making progress and succeeding because, again, like I said this earlier, it's really hard in the moment while we're working our butts off and hustling to kind of see the positive and see the progress and see that, yes, we are doing a good job. It's so easy to get down on yourself and think, oh, I'm not making progress. Oh, my business is going nowhere. Oh, no one's following me. I've got no one's reading my blog. No one's, I'm not hitting the goals. There's so many things we can just get down about with our businesses. And I mean, you guys, I'm not immune to this either. I will get down about my business if I feel like something isn't working out. And I'm sure you guys watching today are probably watching because you're like, I would like to have a business like hers. So you're probably thinking, what do you have to complain about? But trust me, this happens to everybody. No matter how big or how successful your business is, no one is immune to this. So I think that keeping that victories list is a really good way to kind of snap you back into reality and honestly to be grateful for what you've already achieved and for the progress you're making. As I say here, when time gets tough, we end up forgetting the wins, and that's just the truth, okay? So this process of writing down your victories, I think it's very important to write down every win and refer back to the list whenever you're feeling stressed or you need motivation, okay? So I think that in your quarterly review, it's a great time to sit down and think about the wins that you had and think about the things that you did right. And maybe through doing this whole process, you're going to see, oh, I was really good at doing X, or I really stuck to my plans here, or I really hit this goal or I knocked this goal out of the park. These are things that you can go ahead and write down. But I also want you to get into the habit, not just on a quarterly basis, but on a daily basis of writing down little wins that you have, because every win is a victory. And these are all things that I think we need to have at the forefront of our mind as business owners for motivation. Okay. So guess what? That's it. That is the whole business review process that I do on a quarterly basis. Wasn't that easy? Okay. But we're not yet done because I've got some more things I want to talk to you guys about. Okay. So the idea here with this quarterly business review process is, as I said earlier, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail, right? So the point of this is on a quarterly basis, at least, you need to be stopping what you're doing and looking at what you're doing in your business and checking to make sure that you have a plan, that you are executing the plan, and that the plan is working. Because if it's not working, you need to change the plan or change what you're doing, right? This is very important to have a plan that's not foolproof. There's no foolproof plans, but it's important to have a plan that you're confident in, that you execute on, and it's important to make sure that everything that you're doing, or the most things that you're doing, are resulting in wins for yourself, okay, and for your business. So this last kind of like bonus section of this discussion are tools, okay? Because I talked to you guys about the process, and there's also some tools that you guys can use to kind of support yourself. So, you know, when it comes to doing this quarterly review process, you want to ask yourself, do you have all the tools and support that you need for a successful year moving forward, okay? So the first thing I want to talk about are analytics tools, because we talked about the analytics when we were talking about statistics. And there are some great tools that I use that I would highly recommend to you guys as well. If you're someone who's like, okay, I'm going to go sit down and do my statistics, what tools do I need for my analytics, right? So if you're someone who uses Twitter, Twitter actually has their own analytics built in to their application, which is great. I always think there's nothing better than using the analytics that are built into a platform. So with Twitter, if Twitter's a place where you use, where you create content, check out their built-in analytics. It's very helpful. Facebook also has a great built-in analytics feature that if you are someone who has a Facebook page, you're able to track some great analytics and things like that within Facebook. So if you're like, oh, how do I track my Facebook account? It's built into Facebook, okay? So go to your Facebook, there will be tools for you to use for your analytics. Same thing with YouTube. Again, YouTube, I don't go anywhere else. I don't use any other third-party apps. YouTube has excellent analytics built into the platform. For Instagram, Instagram does not have good analytics at all yet. So I use Followers Plus, which is an application I have on my iPhone, or I use one called Iconosquare. Now, Iconosquare is a web app that's kind of changed recently, but I think it still gives you your general analytics. If not, Followers Plus is really good. I think Iconosquare, it had a really great analytics before, but I think you might need to pay for it now, which stinks, but it does give really good insight for Instagram. So if you're someone who really is big on Instagram, or you want Instagram to be a bigger platform for you and you need the good analytics, maybe you want to invest in the Iconosquare. And then your analytics for Google, right? I told you before that Google Analytics is what you should have on your website, okay? You could put Google Analytics on any website. So you want to be using Google Analytics. And I like to use, on my iPhone, I have, it's called Analytics. It's the Google Analytics app on my iPhone that I will sometimes use to kind of just really quickly get information. But there's also a web app as well that comes with Google Analytics, okay? And it's completely free. Okay, so income and expense tools, because, you know, we talked about, you know, gathering that information and things like that. There are some tools out there that can help you gather that information and keep it in one place so it's organized. First is there's a program called Quicken. You guys may be familiar with that. It's just, you know, financial tools. QuickBooks is another program. Quicken and QuickBooks, they're two different things. So that's another one that gets highly recommended a lot. I used one called FreshBooks last year, and it was pretty good. It was pretty good. It is something that you do have to pay for, though. So I ended up it was good. I stopped using it. I would still kind of recommend it because I'll tell you guys what I'm using in a second. Outright.com is a website that I have a friend who uses this and totally recommends it to me. She's a small business owner, so that's another option if you want your income and expenses tracked online. Another great program. You do have to pay for it. And then, of course, there's good old-fashioned spreadsheets, either using Microsoft Excel or Apple's page, you know, thing called Numbers is what they use for their spreadsheets. And that's actually what I use. I mean, I feel like I'm old-fashioned about this, but I'm just so used to using spreadsheets from my days in my Fortune 50 company that I'm just like, it's just something I'm comfortable with. You don't have to pay for it. Like, I don't know. I'm all about saving money. And if it's something I'm already good at, I don't know. Yes, probably using FreshBooks again might be slightly more organized for me, but I like using Excel. I'm old-fashioned. Actually, I use Numbers, not Excel. But if you have Excel, you know, if that's the program you have on your computer, you can also use Excel for OpenOffice as well. OpenOffice is the free version of Word you can download online. So I like to use spreadsheets, good old-fashioned spreadsheets. Gives me much more control, and I don't have to worry about, like, I don't know, a program. I don't know. It's just me, the way I am. So that's what I use, are just spreadsheets now. Okay, so goal-setting tools. So in terms of goal setting tools, you guys are probably may already be familiar, and I'm sure some of you on this call already purchased You Got This, which is my strategic goal setting workbook. But if you're having trouble setting your goals for your business, you know, this workbook is not necessarily business 100% geared towards business. It's about strategic goal setting and planning for your entire life, but you can definitely use it to help you execute on your business goals as well. So I have a link down in the description for You Got This. It's a digital PDF workbook in my shop. You download it. You can print it out or just read it on your computer or on your iPad or something like that. But it does have great worksheets in it. So printing it out, doing the worksheets is really going to help you get really strategic with your goal setting. So if goal setting is something that you realize is a problem for you as you're going through this business review process, check out You Got This. It may help you. I've sold hundreds of copies. It's really highly recommended for my community. Hopefully someone right now on the call has used it and, you know, can tell you guys about it, which would be helpful. Thank you very much. Now let's talk about planning tools, because we've got the goals tools, goal setting tools, and now we talk about planning tools. So what are my planning tools? If you guys are not aware, I use what's called the Charmed Life Planner. It's my own. You can see it here. It's a planner that's like, it's spiral bound. I made this for myself. I do have a video on my YouTube channel about it if you guys are interested in seeing how I made my own spiral planner. But essentially, I'm using what's called my Charmed Life Planner inserts on my shop. I do sell digital inserts that you buy the PDFs and you print them out at home or send them to Staples to get printed out. And then you can put them in whatever planner you want. I used to use Filofaxes, and then last year I was using an ARC system, the disc bound system. And then at the end of the year, I made myself a spiral bound notebook because I had a cinch machine. I bought a cinch machine and I could make a spiral bound planner out of it. So I use my Charm Life Planner inserts. I also use project planning sheets. I have a project planning bundle up on my shop. You guys have probably heard me talk about this before. And I use a number of printable stickers that I created to help my business planning. So that's what I use for my planning tools. And you can head over to my shop. It's thecharmshop.com if you're interested. But something I just put this up in my shop a few days ago, are some business planning bundles, because essentially I was noticing that people who were following me were purchasing my Charm Life Planner inserts and my project planning bundle. And I was just thinking, I'm like, you know what? I should bundle them together because it's what I use. It's what I would recommend to someone to use if they don't have a system that works yet. So let me tell you about the new business planning bundles, because maybe if you're someone who does not have their system set up yet, this might help you, okay? So the printable planning bundles that I have for my business planning bundle include the Charm Life Planner, okay? So the Charmed Life Planner is a week on 2 pages, an A5 size, or I have the personal size Charm Life Planner is a day per page planner, okay? So you can get this in A5 sized with the A5 planner, or personal size with the personal Charm Life Planner, okay? So there's 2 business planning bundles. You just pick the one that fits the planner that you have, okay? It comes with my yearly goal planner sheet, okay? It comes with my project planning pages. You print them out as many as you need. So it comes with the yearly goal planner and the project planning page as well. It also comes with an exclusive business planning sticker set, which if you guys can see, it's the image in the center. It has things like stickers for taxes, for your statistics. It has webinar stickers. It has a victories list stickers with these little glasses, the victories. It has a sticker for self-care items. I use this all the time. Once a week, I have a self-care night, and I write down all the self-care things I'm going to do for myself that night. So self-care is so important as a business owner, to take care of yourself. So that's a sticker on this set. I also have one that says white space, which is essentially when you just kind of leave open space in your day for you to just kind of rest and relax and kind of do whatever you want to do instead of feeling like you have to be working 24/7. I think it's really important to build white space, kind of like blank time where you can do whatever you want into your schedule. So I've got some stickers for white space, and then I've got a bunch of these flags that are in my signature black and marble and turquoise that say business planning, financials, and marketing. So you can kind of mark off, like when you're business planning, if you're working on financials for your business or you're working on any marketing for your business, you can kind of, use those labels to list out information, okay? So this business planning bundle is a $48 value, but I'm selling all of these things together for $30. And the link is down below in this video's description box if you're interested in the business planning bundle. Just because I know I'm going to get this question, I'll address it right now. What if you already bought the Charm Life Planner and you already bought the project planning bundle? Send me an email and I'll send you the stickers. I'm not going to retroact any new pricing because this is a new bundle, but if you have the Charm Life Planner, either of the sizes, and you have the project planning bundle, I will send you the sticker set because I want to make sure you guys have it because you're already someone who's obviously an early adopter of the Charm Life Planner and the project planning set. So I'll send you the stickers if you guys would like those and you don't have them yet. But if anyone does not have the Charm Life Planner, does not have the project planning bundle, it is what I use. It is my holy grail system. It is my planner piece system. Like I found planner piece with the system. So if it's something that's interesting to you, it's a printable sticker. It's a printable planner set, $30. You can print it out as much as you need to. So you can make your own, business binder if you want to for your planner, $30. And you get all three of those things. So you get the Charm Life Planner, the project planning, like bundle, it's the yearly goal planner with the project planning pages and the sticker set. Okay. A printable sticker set. You just print them out it's a PDF. You just print it out on sticker paper. Okay. So next tool, if you need some support and mentorship in your business, okay, so this is really important as well. So if you just feel like as you do your business review, you just don't have a sense of like how you should be marketing yourself, you don't feel like you've got all of the knowledge you need for running a successful online business, you feel like you don't really know how to use the platforms of online business effectively, you definitely can join my tribe and let me mentor you with my Empire Building Online Business Program, okay? So what is Empire Building? It's a self-paced online business and marketing course. It's delivered through 5 info and activity-based PDF workbooks. So it's 5 digital PDFs. You download them, print them out. They've got worksheets in them, and you learn my 5-pillar system for building a successful business online. It's designed to give you all the information you need to apply the pillars of the system, which are listed here on this image here you see with like this like Empire State Building looking building here. The 5 pillars are branding, communication, community, advertising, and income. So it's designed to give you all the information you need to apply the pillars and strategies to your own business. And it includes an online community and some special bonus materials as well. So all you have to do for Empire Building to do I don't call it a course, I call it a program because it's not a course. It's not dripped out to you. It's not broken out like week by week what you need to be doing. It's self-paced. So all you do once you buy it is you print out the workbooks and you get to work. Or you can enjoy them from your favorite device or e-reader, but I would suggest printing it out just because there are worksheets in there for you to actually work through so that you can build your online business plan. So this is what you're going to learn in the program. Blueprint 1 is the first pillar, branding. You're going to learn how to establish a cohesive visual brand. Blueprint number 2 is communication. You're going to learn the essential platforms of online communication and how to use each to your advantage. Blueprint 3 is community building. You're going to learn how to grow a community online and turn them into super fans. Okay, Blueprint 4 is advertising. You're going to learn how to master content marketing to promote your brand and business. So if content is something that you're not confident about, that advertising blueprint is going to help you. Blueprint number 5, income streams. You're going to learn about the different online income streams and how to diversify to make more money. Like I mentioned at the beginning, I have a number of income streams that I have in my business. And in Empire Building, I talked to you about how you can add income streams, particularly how to add passive income streams to your business so that you are working less and earning more. So Empire Building as a program has two unique paths, okay? It's not two levels because you don't get more information in one than you do in the other. It's just two ways of approaching the program. Path number one is what I call the blueprint path. It's completely self-guided experience. It includes the 5 workbooks of the program. You get access to the private Facebook group and online community, and you get unlimited access to Q&A with me. And that program is $197 usually, okay? Path number 2 is the architect path. You get everything listed in the blueprint path, plus 2 one-on-one coaching consulting calls with me. So you get everything that's been listed on the left, as well as 2 coaching calls with me. If you're someone who's not able to apply the lessons that they're learning very easily, I can help you. I can talk to you about your business and teach you how to execute it. And then you also get a custom content development action plan that I create for you. That's basically a complete plan that you use to move forward with your content. This program is normally $497, okay? So why the architect path? Like, why do I have this option in the program? Okay, so although Empire Building was designed as a self-paced information and activity-based course, I realize not everyone's able to apply what they learn to themselves easily. In our first call, you will tell me about your business, your struggles, areas of concern, and I will give you immediate action items to work on. Then with the information I gather from that call, I'll put together a custom content development action plan, a precise online marketing plan unique to your business with specific examples of the content you should create and strategies for adding income streams to your business. Our follow-up call will address your progress with the action plan and gives you an opportunity to bring me any additional issues that you need to work out. And of course, after our calls, you still have unlimited access to me for additional guidance and additional resources, okay? The program also has a couple of bonuses that I want to quickly run over. Bonus number 1 is a workbook called Creating Click-Worthy Headlines. It's all about giving great titles to your content and even in a way brainstorming great content, because I actually use this workbook myself to help me brainstorm content occasionally. So it's all about creating those click-worthy headlines that people are interested in reading about. Bonus 2 is all about pricing strategies. No matter what you are doing online, no matter what you're selling online, if it's services, if it's products, this workbook is going to help you price your products and services. Bonus 3 is an email list building essentials workbook. It's all about getting started with an email list building client like MailChimp or Aweber, a way to basically market to people through email. And I talked to you about how to start that and how to build your list up in that workbook. Bonus number 4 is a guide to writing your business plan. So a lot of people asked for this. This was actually something that was added later on because people in my program wanted to know how to write a business plan for themselves. So I put together a guide to writing your business plan, which is bonus number 4. So let's talk about what the value of this program is and what it should cost. So I already told you guys what the normal retail value of the programs are. So similar online business programs charge upwards of $2,000 or more for very similar content as this. So what do you get normally for $2,000? You get access to a figurehead that dials in for calls. You get your questions answered normally by a staff of people that have canned responses that they give to everyone. So you're paying this money to get access to someone who's a really big name in business, but they're just dialing in for calls and not really answering your questions. Their staff does that. So you're not really talking to the business owner. You're talking to their employee who has like a list of canned responses. It's not really personalized business advice. And then business development and consulting calls can cost hundreds of dollars for a 60 to 90 minute session. I mean, you guys, coaching calls cost a lot. Consulting calls cost a lot to have someone who has a good understanding of business and business development to help you apply the important strategies to your business. These can cost hundreds of dollars. But Empire Building is structured as an affordable alternative. Like I said, Empire Building Blueprint Path is normally $197 and the Architect Path is $497, but it's currently on sale And today is actually the last day of the sale. So if you guys have been on my webinars that were earlier this month, you guys already know about this. But right now, the blueprint path is $147 and the architect path is $397. So you're getting $50 and $100 off these paths. So if you're someone who feels like they need help with their business still, I would highly suggest thinking about empire building, because you're going to be getting all of my knowledge, all of my strategies broken down into this program that's easy to read, easy to follow through, with worksheets that help you do that. And you don't have to worry about any additional resources. I'm always adding resources to the program. And if you guys need help with anything, I'm always there for you guys to email me and message me. And then we've got the wonderful community over on Facebook where people are always willing and able to give you feedback. If you need some feedback on something, we've had people who've shared, when their blogs have launched or their websites have launched, and people have gone in and given them feedback. And, brand name, if you're looking for the name of your brand or your logo, things like that, people post it in the group, and the group kind of helps you, tells you, gives you feedback, which is really valuable to have, other people's eyes on what you're working on. So it's a really great supportive community. I would highly suggest it. If you're interested. And, just so you guys understand, I really mean for people to come into this program at blueprint path level for $147. The architect path is really meant for someone who feels like they're really going to need that consulting aspect with me. So if you are not sure if you need architect path, you might just want blueprint path, okay? So let's talk about who this is for, because I want to be very clear who the course is for so you know if it's right for you, okay? So this course is for a blogger, business owner, or a social media enthusiast who needs to learn the essentials of online marketing. It's for a solopreneur or a business owner with a small team that wants to streamline their brand and presence online to promote products and services through content marketing, okay? Because that's what we talk about. And this is for a business owner looking to be part of a community of like-minded individuals who are going through the same process and willing to share what they've learned along the way. And I'll add one other thing in here too that's not even listed. If you want me to be your mentor, people ask me all the time, like, will you mentor me? Like, can you be my mentor? I mentor the people in empire building. And it's whoever is in empire building and you're asking me questions and you're getting active and you need my guidance, you want my guidance, you're asking me questions, I am here for you to pick my brain. But this is something that I give to my empire builders, okay? So if you're someone who, needs help with their online business, would like to have me as a mentor, this is the program that allows you to kind of have that one-on-one connection with me. No matter which path you choose, you're going to get one-on-one direct help from me. It's not like I don't have an employee that I kind of push people onto. It's me. I answer emails, and anyone who's on the call who might already have familiarity with the program, you guys know I respond to my emails pretty quickly, usually within a day. So you're not really waiting too long to get a response. And I'm always willing to share extra resources and do a little bit of homework for you to kind of save you time and save you energy. So I'm giving you the best advice possible. So no matter which level of the program you get that personalized attention from me, okay? So who is this program not for? Because I'm not trying to sell this program to everyone. This program is for a specific type of person within my community who's looking to build their business, and it's definitely not for other people. So let me tell you, if this sounds like you, this is not for you, okay? So if you're someone who wants to learn how to become a professional social media consultant or create an online marketing course yourself, this is not for you, because this course is not a social media certification, and it's by no means all-encompassing about all aspects of social media. It's intended for those and it's not intended for people who wish to teach social media to others, because these are the strategies that I've built up over years and years and years. So it's not intended for you to join this program and then redistribute it, right? So this is for business owners. You've got a business, or you're starting a business, or you want to start a business, and you're looking for the information that you need to make your business successful, and you're not someone who's like looking to make an online marketing course or do social media for other people, because that's not what this program is about. Now, if you've been running a business online for some time and you believe you're still missing information that I might have in this course, I definitely want you guys to email me first and let me evaluate your situation before you purchase, because again, I'm not trying to sell this to everyone. Like, this isn't for everyone. If you have experience running an online business, you may already be beyond this information. And by contacting me and letting me evaluate your online presence, I'll be able to tell whether or not you're going to benefit from this course, okay? I'll be able to see if you're executing the strategies already. If you are, you don't need the program. So email me and I will give you my honest opinion. You guys, yes, I have had people email me and I've told them they don't need to buy it. So it's not like you email me and I tell you, yes, you still need my program. Legit, I've had people who I've told them the program wasn't for them. So email me, save yourself the time and energy and money, and I'll let you know if it's for you or not. And this is also not the program for someone who wants to buy followers or find an easy answer to building a business online. This course is not an easy button. It's not like you buy it and then suddenly you're going to have a business. It's strategic information designed to be acted upon in order to help you grow your business. It's all the information you need, right? So if you're someone who's been in this holding pattern of, I want to start a business, but I'm still researching, I'm still in the researching phase, I still haven't figured out how to do everything yet. This program gives you that. So you can stop using researching as an excuse, essentially, and get down to business. But if you're just someone who's looking for an easy button, like you have no clue what you want to do for a business, you're just kind of, on the fence about things, you kind of just want to make it simple. There is no simple when it comes to starting your own business. So that's not for you. This is not for you if you are interested in an easy button sort of scenario. So if I've gotten you to this point and you're interested in getting started with empire building, this course is 100% complete right now. All the workbooks are ready and you can start immediately once you purchase. If you don't want to start now, don't worry. You can buy now and you get the special pricing, and you can start once you're ready, because you're just going to download all the course materials. You're going to get yourself into the Facebook group. I'm going to approve your entrance into the Facebook group, and you can read the books at your own leisure. It's your self-paced program. It's you decide how quickly or how slowly you go through this. So if you can't do it right now, but you think you want to do it like in a month or something, and you want to save yourself some money right now by buying it, it's on sale. Save yourself the money by all means. If you go to there's a link in the description, but it should say bit.ly build your empire sale. That's where you're going to go to take advantage of the limited time offer pricing, okay? So next steps, if you do want to purchase, you're going to click that link. You're going to check out via PayPal. You do not need a PayPal account in order to check out. If you don't have a PayPal, that's fine. PayPal gives you the option to just put in a credit card, and it just processes the payment without saving your information. So it's just the way I use to process secure payments, okay? Once you've paid via PayPal, you'll be redirected back to my shop, and you'll have access to download the welcome letter and all the workbooks and bonuses. They're all there. And you'll also be emailed the downloads upon checkout. You'll get like what looks like a receipt from me, and you'd have the links for you to download as well. So you download everything and it's all yours. You own it. You go through it as quick as you want or as slow as you need. Whatever you need, you take the time you need. If you're someone who purchases the Architect Path students will receive information in their welcome letter for arranging their one-on-one calls with me. So that's just something you'll see it in the welcome letter, what the process is for scheduling the calls with me. And that's how you get started with Architect Path, a little bit differently than Blueprint. So let's hear what my previous students have said about the course, because, I can talk all day about how wonderful it is, but it's what other people who have gone through the course have gotten out of the course that I think is the most important to really understand. So let's talk about a few examples of students. The first one is my friend Mandy Bruner. She is an Etsy shop owner and video media consultant at mandyjeanchic.com. She's an Architect Path member, and she, at the time when she entered empire building, she was blogging and creating videos for years with little income to show for her efforts. So Mandy was a blogger. She was working with brands. She was doing YouTube videos, but she wasn't making much money. Let's hear what Mandy said about her experience. She says, I started watching Alexis around December and loved her content and passion. I also admired her skill to create a successful business. I started empire building in August. I wish I would have started it in March. And by the beginning of September, I had started forming a business. Going through empire building book by book, worksheet by worksheet, participating in group discussions, and not to forget the coaching sessions with Alexis helped me focus, create a plan, build my business, but most of all, calm my anxiety about not knowing exactly what I was doing. Starting a business is scary, but knowing I had the books from empire building to refer to and Alexis allowed me to rock it. The best part of empire building was knowing Alexis was there when I needed her and would always give me the best advice, even if I needed to change strategies. I launched my shop at the end of October of 2015, and I had over 100 sales in my first 25 days. I sold out of items, and 4 months later, I'm opening my second shop with my husband called the Leather Quill Shop. My one regret about empire building is I wish I would have started it sooner and joined in April of last year. If you're on the fence about it, I highly recommend empire building. I checked into numerous business coaches, classes, boot camps, you name it. The closest one I found that covered what empire building does was almost $2,000. Empire building is an asset to anyone who wants to build a business or is interested in building a business. So this is a wonderful testimonial from Mandy, who went through the program. Like she says in here, she joined in August. By September, she started forming her business. In October, she was running what I would call a successful Etsy shop. She had 100 sales within her first 25 days, which is a tremendous accomplishment. And her business is just growing. She just opened her second shop with her husband, the Leather Quill Shop, where she creates traveler style notebooks. It's a wonderful product that she creates by hand with her husband, and she's doing amazingly. And like she says, her only regret was that she didn't start sooner. So I think that speaks for itself. And the next one of my students I want you to be introduced to is Lisa Parker. She runs a home-based craft business, and you can visit her at magicallisa.com. She's a Blueprint Path member. And when she joined, she had 15 years of experience running her business. So she's not someone who had no experience. She's been around for quite some time running her business. So let's hear about Lisa's experience. She says, I've been an entrepreneur running my own home-based craft business for over 15 years and can definitely say that I've never come across more relevant and detailed business information as I have from Alexis. I found her on YouTube while searching for videos about using a planner for business. Alexis's planner videos gave me great ideas on how to best use my planners to be more productive on a daily basis. When Alexis launched her empire building courses, I purchased them right away and was not disappointed. Over the years, I have sought out the help from other business coaches only to find the information they were offering was very basic and speckled with a lot of cheerleading and positive thinking quotes that really did not help me at all. Alexis offers down-to-earth, straightforward information that you can use right away. Her grasp on social media marketing and branding is excellent. The way she delivers her content makes it easy to understand and put into practice no matter what stage you are in your process of building your empire. The information in empire building is new, fresh, and innovative. I highly recommend going through the workbooks and taking advantage of the material found there. Even if you think you have your business all figured out, you can always benefit from this fresh perspective. So Lisa, again, had a great experience with empire building, and she was someone who had been running her business for a very long time. I mean, let's talk about small businesses. Most of them crumble within a year, and then even more of them crumble within 5 years. She lasted for 15 years, so she obviously was doing something right, and she gained a wealth of knowledge from empire building as well, which is wonderful. So love Lisa and what she does, and I'm so glad to have her in the program. Next, we're going to talk about the third and finally here, this is the last testimonial I'm going to share, is Jen Lazaris. She is a published author. You can visit her at jenniferlazaris.com. She's a Blueprint level member. She's a full-time self-published author that was looking to simplify her online marketing to focus on her craft. So that's where Jen was. She was already self-published. She has a wonderful, oh my goodness, you guys have to go check her out. Her niche is really cool that she writes in. So you definitely want to check her out. But she was already doing her thing and was successful before she came to empire building, but she really wanted to focus her efforts on online marketing to the extent where she was simplifying so that she could do more work on what mattered, which was her writing craft, right? Because a lot of us think of the content marketing and all that stuff as being a lot of trouble. And Jen wanted to make sure she was being effective while also being able to focus on her craft. So let's hear Jen's experience. She writes, I'm a full-time self-published romance author. This means that not only am I the sole content creator for my business, I'm also the publisher, marketer, production manager, and social media person. My business requires me to wear many different hats, and I was looking for a total plan. Alexis Giostra's empire building program was the answer. There is so much valuable information in all of the different workbooks, and her friendly writing style makes it feel like a very smart, business-minded friend is leading you through the material. I love that I can zero in on sections that are of immediate importance to me and work on other sections as I need them. Before this program, I had a few ideas about community building and branding, but had trouble organizing how I wanted to implement them in my business. The worksheets available with the program really helped me figure out and narrow down how to implement a custom plan that works for me and how to apply and streamline the material in ways that would benefit my brand. This program really helps you examine a lot of different areas of your business. I'm still going through and studying the program and learning how to best make things work for my business model. It's a lot of material, and that's a good thing. But I feel a sense of relief knowing that I have this program to fall back on and consult and guide me when I need it. It was the best money I've spent on my business to date. I've also adopted Alexis's Charmed Life Planner to schedule and keep track of all of my daily, monthly, and yearly business tasks. Alexis's empire building program, workbooks, planners, and inserts all work together beautifully, and I finally gained a sense of peace as well as confidence to run and maintain my business with these tools. So again, another amazing testimonial from another amazing member of my program who has a great business going for herself, someone who was already successful as far as I'm concerned before she even joined the program, and is now, because of the information, because this is information. This is what I'm giving you guys in this program, is the information for how to market yourself online so that you're spending less time muddling through all that and you can focus on what really matters. And to Jen, obviously, as a writer, she is focused on her craft of writing. So beautiful, beautiful testimonial from Jen, who also, as she says, uses my Charmed Life Planner and to do keep track of all of her goals and things like that. So, referring back to that, that business bundle that I've put together with the Charm Life Planner, my project planning, and the stickers, definitely things to consider as well, that my systems do kind of all work together because they're my systems. They're like what I use and what I rely on. So it all kind of feeds in together, which is just a beautiful system for helping you get your business together. Okay. So, I'm going to go ahead now and open up the Q&A. I'm going to close out of this full screen in just a moment. But, like I said, you can get a fast action bonus for free if you sign up for Empire Building today. It is on sale. Today is the last day. It is the end of the sale at midnight tonight. If you visit the link down below, you can get Empire Building for only $147 right now. You can always upgrade to the Architect Path later. If you're someone who has already purchased a workbook of mine, or you've purchased the Blueprint Path and you want to upgrade to Architect right now while it's on sale, absolutely send me an email. We'll make sure that you get the program for that, for that upgrade price. All you have to pay is the difference. I never make you guys pay for it again. You just have to pay the difference as you move up through the program. So right now, if you take advantage of this price, you're also getting that online business resource guide with my favorite books, tools, and content to up-level your online marketing. Just some really great tools to help you, a really great resource guide to help you get started. And of course, you'll be joining the program as well. So you're just going to have so much information to help you get started with your business. So I'm going to go ahead, exit out of this, go back to, here we go. We're going to stop presenting. Okay, so you guys see my face now, right? I'm going to go back and see if you guys can see my face. Well, actually, you know what? I want you to see my face, but I also want you to see that beautiful slide. Okay, hold on. We're going back. I'm going back. I'm going to be a rebel. Hold on. Let's see. Maybe I can pull up FaceTime or something while I'm in there. Haha, that's what I'll do. It'll be wonderful. Start screen share. Okay, I'm going to do it again, presenting to you guys again. I'm going to do it this way. This is what we're going to do. Okay. No, that's not it. I need to see you there. Oops. Let's see if we can get all this together. We got it. Oh, that. Shrink this down a little bit so you guys can see. And that link is in the description. You guys, let's see if I can get my photo booth open. Let's see if you guys can see me. Ah, there I am. Did we get everything in here? Oh my goodness. If we got everything in here, this is totally fun. If we've got a little bit of me, a little bit of the page, and I can see the comments as well. Okay, so we're doing good here. Okay, you guys, hit me with your bet shot. Let me know what your questions are. Okay. I'm gonna go back and see. You guys are talking about things. Okay, you guys are introducing yourselves. Beautiful, love it. You guys are talking about some other great resources. Someone mentioned Edgar, which is a program that is really wonderful for helping you guys kind of push out content on Twitter and maybe might just be Twitter. I'm not sure, but it is something that you do have to pay for. And someone replied with Buffer, which is a free option as well. Someone asked what the best app is to track receipts. You know, I used FreshBooks to track receipts last year. So it's definitely, it has like a feature, like a lot of these programs actually have like a feature. If you use like their iPhone app, you can take a picture of the receipt. But FreshBooks definitely does. And I do recommend FreshBooks. It did work very well for me. I just prefer not to pay for anything if I don't have to. And I love using Excel spreadsheets, like numbers spreadsheets, as I said. Okay, so you guys are learning about Google Analytics. Someone says they use Expensify. Awesome. Someone wants to know if I can do a Google Analytics for Dummies video. Well, let me write this down. I will write it down. Okay. Definitely, I like to take your question, you know, your suggestions into consideration. So I actually have a pen and paper out so I can write things down. Let's see. Sorry, I'm just reading through, as you guys can tell. Someone's got a luxury skincare product business based in Ohio. That's awesome. Someone asked, how do you quickly check content performance? My quick check on content performance is I will look at the amount of, if it's a blog post, I will look and see, does it have comments on it? Has anyone shared it in social media on like Facebook or something like that? You can also go in, like in your Google Analytics, you could technically go see if that blog post in and of itself had a lot of activity. But sometimes that's not the best way, because sometimes people will just go to your blog and not go visit the individual blog post. But I think that like engagement, comments, likes, shares, as well as just looking to make sure that you're getting the page views on your blog, I think that's pretty helpful. Someone says, what about future updates? Yes, as I update the program, and I'm going to be updating the program next month. I'm adding, you guys have not heard this yet, but maybe some of you have. I'm adding a whole blogging webinar to Empire Building next month. So you guys always get whatever updates I add free, okay? Now, when I add things to the program, this is the thing. It may mean that I'm going to up the price of the program as the value of the information goes up. But once you've bought in, you've bought in. So I don't ask people to like pay extra. Like the people who are in Empire Building right now aren't going to have to pay extra for that blogging webinar once it comes in. It's something that's added to the course. And for being an early adopter, that's, you know, the earlier you get into the program, the better deal you've gotten on the information. And I'm always adding to this. I may not add every month, but it is my goal to add more and more to the program. So I am adding a full blogging webinar that's going to be put into the program. So that's just an example. Any updates, I put them in, they're free. As long as I'm doing updates, right? Obviously, like in 5 years, if I'm like no longer doing this program anymore, that's going to be the end of it. So you always have to go in it thinking what I'm buying right now is all I'm getting, right? I always think of that. Think to yourself, what I'm buying right now is all I'm getting, but know that at least right now, I have intentions to add more things to the program this year. So you will always get updates as updates come, right? So if I stop doing updates one year, then that's it. But right now, still adding updates to it, and you guys still get them. Someone said they completely agree about the workbooks being easy to understand and straight to the point. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to get out of here. I guess I'll get out of this and I'll just go back to full screen because maybe you guys don't have any more questions. Maybe this was just the best webinar ever and you didn't have a lot of questions. But if you guys have any questions, now is the time to ask, because now is the time. Also, now is the time, if you got something out of this webinar, I would absolutely love it if you guys could give this video a thumbs up. That would be wonderful. So if you guys could give this a thumbs up, would love that. You guys still there, or did I lose you? I don't know. I haven't seen a comment come in a second. Hopefully this program isn't being weird. Still here. Okay, Carol, thank you very much. Okay, so does anyone have any questions about the business review process? Does everyone get that? Any questions about any of my products or empire building? Because like I said, today is the last day for the sale, and I want to make sure that anybody who's interested, anyone who needs the program, gets their questions answered so that they know whether or not it's for them. Okay, you guys, I guess there's no more questions. I'm over an hour now anyway. Where am I? Almost at like 2 hours, probably. Maybe an hour and a half because of the whole detour in the beginning. But okay, you guys, I am going to go ahead and wrap this up then. So thank you guys all for watching. If you're watching the replay, thank you so much for checking this video out. And if you guys do have any questions going forward, feel free to leave them in the comments or send me an email. I'm always welcome to that. And check the description box of this video because we do have links mentioned for the workbooks, the business planning bundle, and empire building as well. So thank you guys so much, you guys. I will talk to you guys later then. See you in the next video, okay? Bye.